The world is a stage for countless stories, but some linger. These are the tales that claw at the edges of our minds, the ones we try to ignore but can never forget. They are whispers from the abyss, reminding us that reality itself can be a terrifying and uncertain thing. These are true horrors ripped from the fabric of our lives, defying explanation and leaving us questioning everything we thought we knew. Stories of ordinary people thrust into extraordinary, bone-chilling circumstances. They are a chilling reminder that the line between the real and the unreal is often blurred. Prepare yourself, for we are about to journey into the heart of darkness. We will explore 4 true stories that defy explanation, each more unsettling than the last. Be warned. Once you step into the shadows, you may never see the world the same way again. 1954 Paris, the City of Lights, shimmering with romance and history. It was here, in the heart of this vibrant metropolis, that a young woman named Alice received a devastating telegram. Her mother, on a solo trip to Paris, had vanished, gone without a trace from her hotel room. The police were baffled. Alice, heartbroken and desperate, travelled to Paris, determined to find her mother. She checked into the same hotel, a grand old building with an air of faded elegance. Alice requested her mother's room, hoping for some clue, some trace of her presence. The hotel staff, however, seemed strangely hesitant, their faces etched with an unsettling mix of fear and evasion. They claimed no record of her mother's stay, even when presented with a registration card. The room itself, when Alice finally managed to access it, felt cold and empty, the air thick with an unspoken dread. Alice, refusing to give up, began her own investigation. She scoured the hotel, spoke with locals, and even consulted old city records. To her horror, she discovered discrepancies in the hotel's records, as if someone had tampered with the past, erasing her mother's existence. Daniel, a young writer seeking solitude and inspiration, found himself drawn to a charming, albeit slightly run-down, apartment building. The rent was cheap, the location quiet, and the old brick facade held a certain melancholic charm that appealed to his artistic sensibilities. He soon settled into a routine, spending his days lost in his writing and his nights exploring the city's hidden cafes and bookshops. But something about the building felt off. A pervasive sense of unease, a prickling at the back of his neck that he couldn't quite shake. It started subtly. A flicker of movement in the window across from his, a glimpse of a figure silhouetted against the fading light. He dismissed it as his imagination, the result of long hours spent staring at a blank page, but the sightings became more frequent, the figure clearer. It was an old woman, her face etched with wrinkles, her eyes reflecting a chilling emptiness. She would sit by the window, her gaze fixed on Daniel's apartment, her expression unreadable. What disturbed him most was the fact that the apartment across from him was vacant. He had checked with the landlord, who confirmed that the unit had been empty for years. Then came the tapping, soft, insistent raps against his window, usually late at night when the city outside had fallen silent. The first time it happened, Daniel's blood ran cold. He rushed to the window, heart pounding in his chest, but there was no one there. Only the empty street below, bathed in the eerie glow of the streetlights. Emily always considered herself a rational person, someone who didn't scare easily. So, when the phone calls started, she initially dismissed them as pranks, wrong numbers perhaps, or teenagers messing around. But the calls persisted, always at the same time, 3 a.m., the witching hour when darkness held its breath, and the veil between worlds felt thinnest. The voice on the other end was always the same, a low, guttural whisper that sent shivers down her spine. Sometimes it was just heavy breathing, other times a jumble of incoherent whispers, but it was always unsettling, always laced with an undercurrent of menace. Sleep became impossible. Emily found herself dreading the night. her nerves frayed, her mind teetering on the edge of exhaustion. Then came the figure in the street, a tall, shadowy form that would stand across from her building, its gaze fixed on her window. The streetlights seemed to bend and distort around it, casting long, grotesque shadows that danced across the pavement. One night, driven to the edge, Emily finally answered the phone. The voice on the other end, closer now, whispered a single, bone-chilling word, Emily. That's when she noticed it. A discarded newspaper lying on her doorstep, its headline screaming back at her in bold black letters. Local woman, Emily last name, found murdered in her apartment. The name was the same, the story chillingly similar. Section 5. The room that shouldn't exist, a reflection of the unknown. Mark had just inherited his grandfather's old Victorian house, a sprawling, beautiful home filled with childhood memories and the faint scent of his grandfather's pipe tobacco. He was excited to renovate, to breathe new life into the old house and make it his own. One afternoon, while exploring the attic, he stumbled upon a strange inconsistency in the layout. The dimensions of the room didn't match the floor plan. There was a section of wall that seemed oddly out of place, as if it was hiding something. Curiosity piqued, Mark grabbed a crowbar from the basement and began to pry at the suspicious section of wall. The plaster crumbled easily, revealing a narrow doorway hidden behind the drywall. Heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation, Mark stepped through the doorway. The air inside was heavy, stagnant, as if it hadn't been disturbed in decades. Dust motes danced in the faint light filtering in from the attic. The room was small, sparsely furnished with a single chair and a large ornate mirror that seemed to dominate the space. Mark's reflection stared back at him, but something was wrong. The reflection moved on its own, its eyes flickering with an unnatural light, a sinister smile spreading across its lips. Panic surged through Mark. He stumbled back, tripping over his own feet, scrambling to get away from the room, from the horrifying reflection that was no longer his own. Section 6. The haunting persistence of uncertainty. These stories, though different in their specifics, share a common thread. They are threads woven from the fabric of our deepest fears, the ones that whisper to us in the dead of night, the ones we try to rationalize but can't quite shake. The fear of the unknown, the fear of the unseen, the fear that the reality we cling to is nothing more than a fragile illusion, easily shattered. What happened to Alice's mother in that Parisian hotel room? Was her disappearance a sinister act, carefully concealed, or something even more inexplicable, a bending of reality itself? Section 7. The fragility of reality. And what of Mark and the room that shouldn't exist? Was the horrifying reflection in the mirror a manifestation of his own subconscious fears, brought to life in the darkness of the old house? Or did he stumble upon a portal, a gateway to a realm beyond our understanding, a place where the laws of nature hold no sway? They remind us that there are gaps in our understanding of the universe, mysteries that science and logic cannot fully explain. They whisper to us of the thin veil that separates the known from the unknown, the seen from the unseen, the real from the unreal. Are these stories merely the result of coincidence, misinterpretations, or the power of suggestion? Or do they hint at something more profound, something that challenges our very perception of the world? Section 8. Beyond the veil of our perception. The human mind is a powerful instrument, capable of extraordinary feats of imagination and creativity, but it is also easily deceived, prone to suggestion and eager to find patterns and meaning where none exist. Could it be that these true horrors are nothing more than our own minds playing tricks on us, our deepest fears given form in the shadows? Or is there something more at play? Could there be forces beyond our comprehension, entities that exist just beyond the veil of our perception, occasionally reaching through to touch our lives in ways we can barely comprehend? These are not questions with easy answers. Section 9, Conclusion, a lingering chill. As we emerge from the shadows of these true horrors, we are left with a lingering chill, a sense of unease that settles deep within our bones. The world seems a little less certain, a little less secure, the line between reality and nightmare a little more blurred. We are forced to confront the unsettling possibility that the monsters we create in our minds are not the only ones we need to fear. The true horror lies in the realization that the most terrifying monsters are often the ones we can't explain, the ones that lurk in the shadows of our understanding, the ones that whisper to us from the abyss.